Hello everyone, my name is Andrew Folkler, and I would like to thank you for watching this video. This video log will be a continuation of my parental alienation series. This video will focus on the third technique used by alienating parents, which is harassment to the child and the non-custodial parent. If you have not seen my other videos, I suggest watching them first, titled Parental Alienation Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3, as well as watch the video titled Andrew's Introduction. Andrew's introduction gives an overview of my personal situation. Parental Alienation Part 1 defines the term parental alienation. Parental Alienation Part 2 explains how isolation is used to enforce the alienation, and Part 3 explains how the exploitation of the fear of abandonment is used to enforce the alienation. I've received many good reviews from people of the parental alienation community, so it's not just me that recommends these videos. Anyways, continuing on to the harassment of the child and the non-custodial parent. Beginning with the child, the harassment can come in many different forms: physical, psychological, sexual, emotional, verbal. And I don't think detailing how the abuse is carried out is as important as why it is carried out. Tying into my last video, one of the reasons I said the fear of abandonment is exploited is to demonstrate omnipotence. The alienating parent portrays him or herself as the Almighty, capable of giving and taking. By showing the power of being able to punish the child through abusive means, the child is placed in a position where he or she is completely dependent on the alienating parent and has to appease every desire for the child to protect him or herself. The relationship is no longer a child-parent relationship. In fact, it is transformed into a master-servant relationship in which the child's status is reduced to servant. The master extorts from the servant and then gives the servant his or her basic needs to survive. Now, most of us can figure out the material items the alienating parent extorts from the child. The most obvious one is child support. The alienating parent turns the child into a source of income. And I'm going to say it right now, I've heard too many people say divorce with children is all about the money, and I'm going to say it right now. No, that is too skewed and narrow-minded to be true. The issue with that mindset is it revolves around the idea that some parents only view children as a source of income or expense, and that is leaving out some very important psychological aspects that most people tend to forget. At the same time, let's be honest here. Where does the child support funds even go? Go straight into the hands of the alienating parent. And what would happen if the money went into a bank account only the child can access? Or we take that one step further. What if that bank account was only accessible when the child turns 18? If that were the case, I'm confident the whole mentality of child support would be hugely different. Personally, I can't think of any more materialistic gains the alienating parent uses to extort from the child. However, what most people do not see are the emotional needs the alienating parent extorts from the child. As much as we all probably don't want to say it, alienating parents are people too. They have needs and they have desires. What is unfortunate, though, is the choice to stoop so low to achieve these needs and desires, to the point where it is at the expense of others, especially children. So, emotional needs. The alienating parent extorts from the child praise, love, emotional support, and most importantly, vindication from their deeds. And what I mean by this is that the alienating parent is going to question themselves at certain points of time. Am I doing the right thing? And what they want to hear is the child tell them, you are doing a good job, you're doing the right thing. It's a really deep psychological desire. I'm confident deep down somewhere the alienating parent knows the wrong he or she is doing, but as we all know, many people are more willing to believe a self-told lie than just to avoid the truth. Having a child tell the alienating parent that he or she is not all that bad of a person is part of that self-told lie. This constant need for emotional support is always there, and the child is aware of it. The child knows this is the role he or she has to assume, and the consequences of not giving this emotional support is always negative, ranging from frown, to a statement of, don't you love mommy anymore? Moving on to the harassment of the non-custodial parent. The alienating parent fears two things. One, the child realizing the truth of his or her alienation from the non-custodial parent. And two, the non-custodial parent developing a relationship with the child. So why does the alienating parent want to cut out the non-custodial parent? What I have noticed is the alienating parent is trying to create his or her perfect world. And what this means is once the alienating parent enters the family, his or her goal is to create a perfect family. Basically, everyone loves each other, there's no hostility, everything's in control, and most importantly, no outsiders. This almost seems like a paradox, as the alienating parent aims to achieve a happy and peaceful family, but uses methods which actually provoke anger and hostility. One of the lies the alienating parent tells him or herself is that everything will be better once the non-custodial parent is removed from the picture. So, why is the alienating parent so afraid of the non-custodial parent? Here is where things get interesting. The alienating parent strongly fears any potential attack to their perfect family. One of the reasons the child is cut off from the non-custodial parent is because the alienating parent is afraid of losing the child to the non-custodial parent. What does that do? It is a loss of a member to the perfect family. In the alienating parent's mind, in the alienating parent's mind, the child is either with me or the child is with them. There is no in between, there's no middle ground, no co parenting, no sharing the child. In the alienating parent's mind, the child is a piece of property. Property that is used for what I described earlier: extortion of love, affection, money, vindication, and emotional support. So naturally, the alienating parent doesn't want someone else to steal his or her property. So, to scare away the non custodial parent, the alienating parent attacks him or her in the most inhumane way by turning the child against him or her. At this point of time, if you have not seen my other videos, if you have seen my other videos, it is very clear how this happens. By putting the child in a position where the very existence of the non-custodial parent is being denied, the level of pain the alienating parent is inflicting is immense. This is an attempt to sever the bond between a child and a parent, the most powerful love bond that is ever developed in the course of a human life. And unfortunately, there are people who have successfully severed other people's parent-child bonds permanently. One thing I remember one of my teachers once said, his name was Mr. Terrence Ong. He was a phenomenal guy. He said, as a child, you will never fully comprehend the depth of your parents' love until you have your own children. Looking at that from both directions, the child will not understand the love he or she is being deprived of because he or she doesn't have any children yet. So the child has no idea what he or she is missing out on. The adult is being deprived of the chance to embrace their child with this overflowing love and thus feels like they're not doing a quality job as a parent. And I hope this gives you an idea of just how deep this can go. So other than turning the child against the parent, the alienating parent may also take the time to directly criticize the non-custodial parent. Understand that nothing the alienating parent says will be all that legitimate. The alienating parent will resort to name-calling, vulgarities, digging up the past, poisoning the well, and many other means to bring you down, but have no legitimate argument. And what and that is how you know, you are in the right, that you've won the argument. The alienating parent has no way to justify his or her attempt to outcast you, and so they resort to intimidation to weaken your stance, and all this is meant is to defend their perfect world. And all they want you to do is give up and walk away defeated. So all you have to do is keep trying to contact your child, and they will falter someday. So how does this all tie in with Jacob? Beginning with Jacob. Jacob is being constantly harassed. He's being told that he was abandoned, that we don't love him, that we're out to hurt his feelings, and that we want to cut him off. This is all being said even though he spent his entire life with us. Every time he is being told this, he knows deep down it's a lie. He's not stupid. He is 11 years old. He'll be 12 in August. He is only afraid of getting in trouble for not complying. One thing I have not mentioned about our background story that I definitely need to bring forward in more videos is that in 2010, Gloria was diagnosed with breast cancer. It was a very traumatic time for all of us. Even though Gloria alienated William and I from our mother, we still cared for Gloria and we gave her a child's love. So regarding her cancer, it was at stage 1, so she went through 6 months of chemo and she's been fine ever since. But what I wanted to bring up was the one person Gloria used as an emotional crutch was Jacob. Because of the chemotherapy, Gloria's anger was amplified, and so William, my father, and I were often on the receiving ends of her anger outbursts. But Jacob, he stepped up, and he probably did more for her emotionally than the rest of the family. Jacob has always been the caring and compassionate type. Tying into the extortion of the emotional support from the child, Jacob's compassion is being used to help her internally absolve her wrong deeds. I'll let that sink in for a moment. Moving on to the harassment of us, the non-custodial individuals. Gloria has cut off Jacob from us because she knows that if he communicates with us, then he will want to spend time with us, and that he will no longer believe in anything she says. This results in a loss of control of Jacob. The moment she loses control, Jacob ascends from property to person. So, along with isolating Jacob, Gloria verbally harasses us directly. The best place to go to fully understand this is by watching my video titled Phone Recording Evidence, in which I put out an 8-minute phone call and I discuss a few points in the end. In this phone call, all my father says is, "I want to speak to Jacob," and Gloria returns with some very harsh language. Fortunately, there were more phone Unfortunately, there were more phone calls, but because most of these phone calls were done at 2 in the morning, the last thing you really tend to think about is recording it. And as of now, Gloria has changed her number, so we have not been able to call Jacob at all. So, in all of this, there's one major point to bring across at this juncture. While the divorce is more than a year old, it is not finalized. It has been determined at this point All that has been determined at this point is an agreement to the terms of the divorce. Nothing about Jacob has been decided, so my father still has 100% of his parental rights. All of this is being done by Jacob solely because he lives in her house. Gloria has no right to isolate Jacob from us and even his cousins and family in Singapore, and that is why we work so hard to bring him home. So I would like to thank you for watching this video. My next video will focus on the last aspect of enforcing parental alienation, which is rewards for compliance. After that, expect to see videos focusing on key points in this whole divorce, be it especially in last year, such as April to May 2013 when we left Singapore, August 2013, where I had some of my friends approach Jacob, 2010, where I will discuss the cancer period in much more depth, and I also might do some videos on Gloria's supporters, primarily her daughter and her daughter's husband. I also have 2 more videos I'm working on now. One is a message to the children of parental alienation, and another video is how I came to realize I was a victim of parental alienation and how I am rebuilding my relationship with my mother after being alienated from her for 12 and a half years. Once again, thank you for watching this video. If you have not done so, please subscribe to our website at www.jacobfolkler.com. Also, please take the time to comment on the website and send Jacob your messages of love. Like us on Facebook at Bring Jacob Folkler Home and follow us on Twitter at the Folkler Team. Once again, thank you so much, and with your help, we can bring Jacob home.